This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Resolved. This House, as the UN Security Council, will justify wars among states as for self-defense. So one, the Team Negative come and tell us that one of the things they want us as the UN Security Council to do is to represent well. Well, we are doing so. We are telling them that according to Article 51 of Chapter 7 will only result to war if the other means, such as the economic sanctuaries that they're talking about, have failed. So we are telling you that they talked about urgency. So we are looking at an effective mean that is addressing the urgency of the situation that is at hand. If Russia attacks Ukraine, us to first look at the economic sanctuary while these people are already dying. Then you come and tell us that you want us to represent you well. We're telling you that Russia is one of the biggest distributors of petroleum. So when they go to war with Ukraine, other members will be affected in a way that now that there is war in Russia, they are rejected. They talked about economic sanctuaries. Remember that when Russia and Ukraine went to war, those values were put on Russia, meaning that their exports and imports were put on limit, which means that other members of the country were being put at stake. So for that reason, they were pushed to engage in the war, rejected. So in other words, in their hearts they're saying, when is the war ending so that we can get our supplies of petroleum from Russia? So that's what we are talking about. We are actually promoting peace. What do you want us to do? A country that is being attacked should first stand back, wait for these sanctuaries of yours. What if they don't work? Mind you, when Russia attacked Ukraine, peace talks had already gone on. What did Russia do instead? We have all seen, even Uganda itself, our motherland, was affected when Russia went to war with Ukraine. What is that? So if they are there, yes. So we are telling you that why is it right for us to justify this was, one, we are looking at the right to self-defense. If it is there in the charter, then why not practice it? If these other means have failed, why not use the mean that we are seeing is most effective, that is addressing the urgency we are looking about? Then two, we are looking at that we don't want rejected. These other means you're talking about are bringing in the multi-effects on other states. They are affecting other states. We talked about your economic sanctuaries. We are telling you that they are affecting other members. So we are telling you that we are looking at self-defense because, as you said yourselves, that it rejected. It is an obligation of the UN to promote national peace. We are telling you that when let's say we give you an example of Russia and Ukraine. When Ukraine is self-defending itself from Russia, it is only targeting Russia, and they are not doing it in a way of revenge. No, we are not promoting revenge, mind you. We are promoting what we call self-defense. They are defending themselves because our war was waged upon them. So they are doing what is in their capability to fight against it is not saying hurt me, I hurt you. No. We are looking at that. We are protecting our people. We are protecting our ways of life. If what you're doing is going to affect the way my people in my country live, why shouldn't I defend myself? Let's give an example of a family. If a father sees that his family, they will go and defend his family. He will go and defend his family. He's not going to first go sit in meetings, long meetings, and at the end, the other family is not even going to come in agreement with what they sat about and talked about for all those hours. So that is why we are addressing. We want to let you know that we are addressing the urgency. Quick response. We are looking at the measure that is going to end the war and promote peace in the other.
Resolved. This House, as the non-Security Council members of the UN General Assembly, believe that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. What do we mean here, panel? First and foremost, Affirmative has come here and they have not told us how they are going to handle the effects of this war. What are the mitigations? Because a war is still a war. There are effects. There is the aftermath, the destruction of infrastructure, the infringement of human rights, the infringement of human dignity. Number one, first and foremost, we must understand, the panel, that the right to life is a universally accepted right. And therefore, when you justify a war as a peacekeeping body, moreover, you're telling us that you're going to infringe on the right to life. How can we accept this? Now we as the UN non-Security Council members of the General Assembly believe that we can place sanctions. Our alternative to justifying war is placing sanctions on the country that has gone on offensive. We are going to place not only economic sanctions, political sanctions, and even social sanctions. We are going to squeeze the country on the offensive until they back down from their offensive.
POI.
Now, these members, the affirmative, came and told us that as the UN Security Council, they want to justify war. Ladies and gentlemen, Article 51, Chapter 7 of the UN Charter clearly states that under no circumstances are the UN Security Council allowed to justify a war. Their work in this case is only to allow the country under attack to retaliate in self-defense until the UN is able to step in and work towards peace. This means that the sanctions that we are placing in will force the offensive to cool down so that we are able to go back to the drawing board and go back to our peacekeeping ways. But the affirmative clearly are not upholding the UN's the reasons that the UN was formed. They are not upholding peace in any way. First and foremost, secondly, they come and tell us about superior and inferior conflict. Okay, let's go into that and look at the polarization that the permanent members on the council have. We are looking at the fact that we are looking at Kosovo and Serbia. Kosovo was supported by the US, the UK, and France, but Serbia was supported by China and Russia. Yet, a decision to give Kosovo their independence could not be made unless all 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, polarization of the permanent members. We are also looking at the fact that we are not denying these countries to have the right to self-defense. But you cannot come on stage and tell us, you as a vital organ of the UN Security Council, that you really believe that justifying war, which by the way you have no right to justify, that you want to justify war. You do not have that right, first and foremost, as the UN Security Council. Your work is to uphold peace. You cannot move away from the values of the UN as an organ of the UN and tell us blatantly in public that you want to justify war. Thank you. I beg to rest my case.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.